Penske Cars Limited has definitely done us good, and I just can't wait to drive the new car.
Just a quick opinion from you, because turns 3 and turn 4 obviously seem to be the problem spots here. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the wind's blowing it from 4 to turn 1, so when you enter turn 3, you got the wind on the right side of the car, which is pushing it down, which makes the car a little bit loose down on that end. You get down over in turns 1 and 2, the wind's coming across from the left, and I found an understeer, a push over in turn 2. So, you know, we were just taking it easy. You know, Paul, after seeing what he did, you know, we knew 3 and 4 was going to be touchy. We need to just be careful, get through a couple stops, get the car changed, and start going.
And the heat, is that going to cause a lot of problems? I mean, it's red hot down here right now.
It's only going to get hotter too. Yeah, I mean, it's the hottest day, and I'm sure every driver out there is waiting for that pit stop so that they can change their car and make it better.
All right, thank you very much, Alan Jr. We'll see you in 1998. Right now, back up to Ben Edwards.
Thanks, Guy, and I think Guy's heartfelt words about how hot it is down there in the race suit in the pit lane at the moment. And of course it's pretty hot for the drivers out on the circuit, so at least they've got a little bit of airflow through the cars at the moment as they cruise round again fairly slowly. Hard to pick up the concentration and the motivation in this sort of heat, though, when it does go back to the green flag racing once again.
We were talking about the race pace before that last incident, when the leaders had clear laps. They were lapping 31.5, 31.6. That's around about 231 miles an hour, and that's a pretty hot clip for these early stages of the race. And certainly Gugelmin and Andretti in particular were running those sort of speeds, and really so with the first half dozen, 8-10 cars were all running similar speeds. So it's amazing how well they were running and how consistently they were running that early in the race in this sort of temperature. And great job down in the pits there, Guy.
Yeah, that's right. He's doing fine down there at the moment. Let's hope he doesn't wilt under the pressure of all this, the heat and all the accidents that are going on, chasing up and down the pit lane. So they've done a pretty good job on clearing away the mess that was Arie Luijendijk's car. I don't think I've seen a destruction site like that for quite a long time. Certainly on these speedways, when it goes wrong in such a big way. Michael Andretti begins to get the field in order as we get ready to go green flag racing once again.
Well, Richie Hearn led for a few laps under yellow there. He became the 20th driver to lead a race this year, but he came in to make his pit stop. Andretti now leads up towards the green flag. The start of lap 1, we've had 51 laps now in the books, so beginning lap 52, green flag.
So Michael goes for it now ahead of Maurizio Gugelmin. I wonder whether Gugelmin's going to be able to continue the chase. We've got changes going on as Blundell and Ribeiro go across the line, and Ribeiro gets past Mark Blundell and takes the place away. So Ribeiro continues his charge that was interrupted by that last yellow. Then we've got Brian Herter and Scott Pruitt chasing. Watch Michel Jourdain. Jourdain still looking very, very keen to get ahead of Maurizio Gugelmin. That's the battle for second place that you're watching. The red and white car, Maurizio Gugelmin, the winner in Vancouver in the Pac West car, and Michel Jourdain, who's never finished on the podium for a kart race, but the last few races really have seen him perform tremendously well. And look at this, having a go up on the outside there, down into turn 1. The 21-year-old Mexican, who's completing his first full season in the championship this year, is certainly in fine form here, and fired up by a little party the team held perhaps a little earlier in the week. He's determined to get up amongst the front runners.
Great job he is doing. He's really come on gangbusters these last few races. You know, ever since he got that new Reynard at the beginning of the season, it was Team Rahall's spare car at the beginning of the season, and Peyton Coyne Racing took over that car at Portland. And virtually every single race since then he's moved up the grid. He was 8th on the grid at Laguna Seca, 5th on the grid here, and here he is challenging for second place. And sensational effort. He's dropped back a little bit there. There is actually Jimmy Vasser having to run down the inside. No problem there for Jimmy Vasser down the inside to take over third position. But Michel Jourdain Jr. really doing a super job. His race engineer, of course, Dave Morgan, plenty of experience from the Englishman.
So good to see as Michel Jourdain continues. But I think, Guy, you've got some more information for us.
Yeah, just a quick update from down in pit lane. Scott Pruitt reporting some tyre problems and needs some more pressure in the rear tyres to continue. Also, Art Meyer, he went down below the white line just as Patrick Carpentier did in his crash, and that would cause his problems. And Gilles de Ferran has a problem with his jacks. When he comes into the pits, they're not rising the car quickly enough, so his pit stops are going to be a little bit slower.
Thanks, Guy. All important information, and that is a shame for De Ferran. Remember, they have on-board air jacks on these cars, and as soon as the car comes in, the airline goes plugged in just behind the driver's head, and the jacks then lift the car off the ground to change the wheels. If those aren't operating fast enough, that's going to cause quite a long delay. De Ferran at the moment is running down in 15th place, so you can see he's already lost a fair bit of ground to everybody else at the moment. Unusual to see the man who's confirmed second place in the championship to be running that far down the field at this point. Still concentrating on Michel Jourdain at the moment, with Andre Ribeiro behind him, and Marc Blundell also very close in attendance there as they come past that packed grandstand. The spectators roasting in this 100 degrees Fahrenheit heat that we have here in California. The Los Angeles basin, really, the temperatures have climbed over the last couple of days. They had their first rain for over 220 days on Thursday, but the rain has gone away with a vengeance. The sun has returned, and Ribeiro has taken the place from Michel Jourdain. So Ribeiro takes up the place, but Guy, I think you've got the man who's keeping a close eye on Michel Jourdain down with you in the pits.
He's keeping a very close eye. Just lost the position, unfortunately, to Andre Ribeiro, but Michel Jourdain, the youngster, is driving the best race of his life so far, Dale.
He's doing a great job. You know, we finished third at the US 500 last year, and we want to do a little bit better than that today. We're trying to get the tire situation right, and we did this last year. By the time we got to the last pit stop, we were around the money.
There's a lot of talk about tire situations. We know that some folks are struggling with the Firestones. How about you guys?
Well, we struggled a little bit on the first stop. We've made some changes. We'll make some more in the next one, and we've got a good team here. I think we'll figure it out, and Michel will drive the thing around.
All right, good luck to you. That's Dale Coyne, the owner of the Michel Jourdain entry, that is having one of his best races right now.
And a great performance for the Dale Coyne team, for Peyton Coyne and Motorsports. Really one of the smaller teams in the series, running on a much reduced budget compared to the likes of, say, Newman Haas and particularly Penske. And yet showing that if you get the equipment right, you get a good driver, you get a good race engineer, then really you can make things happen in this championship.
Yeah, it's a great thing about this PPG Cup Series, I think, and there is Michel Jourdain Jr. now with Brian Herter behind him, and there's dices all the way through this field. This stage of the game, they're still 31.8 last time around, 31.9. That's around about 228, 229 miles an hour, so a little bit slower than what they were doing earlier on, but still a pretty good clip.
So Blundell chases after Andre Ribeiro, and Marc Blundell, who has changed his appearance a little bit this weekend. Actually, he's gone for a little bit of the highlights. It looks not quite the Jacques Villeneuve look, but definitely a lighter colour on top, and Marc running in 5th now. Up front, Michael Andretti leads after 64 laps have been completed. That still means there are 185 laps to go. Maurizio Gugelmin is in 2nd place. There, the top left-hand corner of your screen. You can see Vassar 3rd, Ribeiro in 4th position. Moore now up to 5th position ahead of Marc Blundell, who's back in 6th. Then Brian Herter in 7th. Michel Jourdain has dropped down to 8th place with 9th, Raul Boesel, and in 10th place, running competitively still, Adrian Fernandez with the Lola chassis, still doing a good job at the moment. We'll keep an eye out to see whether he makes up more progress later in the race. Now, there was
one of the Brahma cars came past here, not sounding too good at all. I think it was Raul Boesel. He's in 10th position, and I think he didn't sound good. It sounded most of the time, it sounded like a broken header on Raul Boesel's car. He dropped back behind Adrian Fernandez, who's now up into 9th place. Pruitt was right behind him. There is the race leader, Michael Andretti. He's coming out to complete lap 66.
Yes, definitely quite noisy as Boesel went past. As you say, Jeremy, possibly a broken header. The header is the first part of the exhaust pipes as it comes off the engine. That was the problem, remember, that Al Unser Jr. had. And again, you can hear it. We can hear it as we goes past us on the outside of turn number 4. There's a real deep grumble noise from one of those cars. We think it's Raul Boesel, and that means he's not going to last very much longer. Of course, the exhaust, vital part of these cars, because the exhaust gases feed the turbocharger, but then, of course, inject the fuel-air mixture into these 2.65 litre engines. So you lose the header, you have an exhaust problem, and it really doesn't mean that you're able to continue much longer. Andretti still leads, Gugelmin 2nd, then Ribeiro. Looking at the fastest lap on that last lap, let's just see, you can see it's Ribeiro at the moment at 229.727 miles an hour. Again, a good speed from Fernandez at 227 miles an hour, even though he's a bit further down the field, and then dropping down quite a lot. Quite a slow lap there from Scott Pruitt on that last one.
Well, he's behind Raul Boesel, and Raul certainly, it sounds sick, and it might be running well at this moment, but I don't think he'll be too much longer. And I'm sure that Scott Pruitt won't want to get too close behind there in case there's a more catastrophic failure.
Just looking at the fast laps today, you can see the fastest overall from Mark Blundell on lap number 40 at 232.011 miles per hour. We're now on lap number 69. So Blundell's car obviously working well. Maurizio Gugelmin there already getting up amongst some of the cars we might have expected to be doing well. I think he was just going past Robbie Gordon by the looks of things. Gordon's back down in 16th place. There is no surprise. Raul Boesel has come into the pits. That's the car that we thought was making the horrible noise as he went past us, and it looks as though the Brabham Sports team going to work to find out exactly what the problem is, and I think we can tell them it's an exhaust problem, and I doubt whether we'll see the resilient Raul Boesel come back out onto this racetrack this afternoon. Just looking back at Greg Moore from Jimmy Vasser's car. Vasser running in 4th position. There is another look with Raul Boesel. I think it's going to be an end for him. Well, they're reporting an electrical misfire, but well, I think it was something a little different to that, perhaps from the noise, although perhaps it was that sort of reason for the strange noise that we heard as he came past us. And maybe if they can repair the electronics, maybe they can get him back out. Of course, it's pretty much worth it if you can in these sort of races.
But looking, I'm keeping a close eye here on the lap times, and Michael Andretti was doing 31.8s, 31.9s about 10 laps ago. His last lap around was 32.9, and Maurizio Gugelmin is closing in. Less than a half a second between them. They're flying past here. There it goes, Dylan Svitolo, who's almost a lap down. Michael Andretti is next on the road. He's actually still got about a 40 or 50 car 50 metre lead perhaps.
Look at this, fantastic pictures. Greg Moore trying to get past Jimmy Vasser, and he's got down the inside. They've got Robbie Gordon to deal with in the Hogan car, but he's gone past. Wonderful pictures there from the onboard camera of Jimmy Vasser as Greg Moore just came up behind. Look at this, Mark Blundell's doing the same, 240 mile an hour, and he slips out of the slipstream, gets alongside Jimmy Vasser and goes through, and Vasser loses 2 places.
Yeah, Vasser's been struggling. The last half dozen laps, he's lost a lot of speed, and the car seems to be there pushing up towards the wall, I would say, and he's certainly not running at the same pace he was earlier on. They're both going past Robbie Gordon, who is already a lap down. He is behind, he's in 16th position, 1 lap down. There is Jimmy Vasser to the inside, but he can't make it sit. They're both struggling, both of these two. They're both on fast-owned tyres.
Yeah, interesting that. Gordon seemed to sort of leave him room, but Vasser wasn't feeling brave enough or confident enough in the car to take it. And now Herta is going to take a position from Jimmy Vasser by the looks of things as they come round. This is for 6th position now.
In the meantime, Michael Andretti has picked up the pace again. Last time round, last 2 laps were both 31.9, and then that time 32.4. So I think a little bit of traffic on this last lap around. But Michael again now running good, consistent lap times out in front of the field. He and Maurizio Gugelmin just about a half a second between them. Andre Ribeiro just over a second behind them in 3rd place.
Now then, let me just give you the latest information we have. You're just riding on board with Christian Fittipaldi. Just to tell you about Ari Luyendyk, who suffered that huge accident earlier on in this race. The signs are pretty good. He's been taken off to hospital for the normal scans that they would always give the drivers after a very heavy accident like that. But we haven't had any reports of any other serious injuries for Ari Luyendyk. So fingers crossed, it looks pretty good for the Dutchman. And we'll report back to you any further news that we get during the course of the afternoon. But a bit of a sigh of relief for the sake of Ari Luyendyk, who suffered that huge accident when he hit Arndt Meyer. The news about Arndt Meyer is pretty good as well. He's just a bit bruised and bashed, but basically he's okay. So we've had 3 cars off heavily here today. Raul Boesel does get going again. That's good news. Let's hope he is able to rejoin the action. We saw Paul Tracy crash, and he was able to walk away from that. He's okay. And we've seen Arndt Meyer and Ari Luyendyk crash, but no serious injuries from either of those. And let's hope that it stays that way. Let's go down to Guy Hobbs, who is now with Steve Newey.
Down in the Brahma pit, where he's just had contact with Raul, who's just gone back out. Can you tell us exactly what the problem was, and has it been solved?
We're not sure if it's been solved yet or not. It's either an electrical problem or an engine problem. We're not sure yet. We're getting ready to find out here.
It's going to be a long day with that problem, and obviously if you can get it fixed, so it is a 500-mile race, you can make
Absolutely.
Up time.
It's going to be a long day. Hopefully we can run till the end from here.
All right, so trouble with the Ford, and mainly the electricals, as you heard. Back to you, Ben.
Thanks, Guy. The battle continues out on track at the moment. Greg Moore, Mark Blundell, both fighting their way through some of the traffic. And that, of course, is always something that has to be dealt with as clearly as possible. Andretti's still the race leader at the moment from Maurizio Gugelmin and Andre Ribeiro, who's now up into 3rd place. Ribeiro still going well, as he has done right from the beginning of this race, gradually made up ground. That was was that Raul Boesel going past us again? It sounded dreadful.
No, I don't think it was. I think it was Brian Herta. In actual fact, he was the tail end of that group there, so it's same sound from that car. It's another Ford, of course, with engine, of course. And this year, you know, Raul Boesel had that problem several times. I remember at Gateway, in fact, both he and Hurt had